So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. Today we will be discussing our topic, which is the top 3 ways to drive better customer experience for professional services companies in the post-COVID-19 era. My name is Creatio, and I look forward to being joined by one of my colleagues from Creatio during the discussion today. We hope to make this a very interactive discussion, so we welcome you to post all of your questions in the Q&A section throughout this webinar. Following the discussion, we will provide all registered participants with a recording of the webinar, and we will attend to any unanswered questions offline. Now, as mentioned previously, my name is Creatio. I'm a Marketing Communications Manager at Creatio, and I'm joined by my colleague, Eric Hale, who is our Global Head of Sales Enablement. So Eric, why don't you say hello to our audience?
Hey, thanks, Corey. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for spending a little time with us today. Looking forward to going over the material and sharing your thoughts. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks for joining me, Eric. So on our agenda for this afternoon, we'll be discussing the company. We'll be introducing the company and telling you a bit more about Eric, followed by a discussion of the latest trends that pose challenges to the industry. We'll talk about Creatio's low-code platform for CRM and BPM, followed by the top 3 ways to drive high-end customer experience. We'll also share some case studies, and we'll follow up with that interactive Q&A section that I mentioned previously. Again, we invite you to post your questions in the chat section throughout the webinar, and we look forward to answering each of these during the discussion today. So while this is a reminder for many of you who are familiar with Creatio, we did think it would be important to provide you with a bit of an overview for those of you who are less familiar with us. We have 5 global offices. We're a very globally diverse organization with 650 employees worldwide. We have a robust and continuously growing channel network of over 700 partners. And this large number of employees and large group of partners enable us to deliver our solution in 110 countries worldwide. We're highly recognized by key industry analysts, including analysts from Gartner and Forrester, and I look forward to discussing that recognition in greater detail moving forward. We are acknowledged in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, which is an excellent accomplishment given that it's quite challenging to be included in one. We are a leader in 2 of these 5 Magic Quadrants. A leader in the Magic Quadrant for Salesforce Automation and a leader in the Magic Quadrant for CRM Lead Management. We are in 2 Magic Quadrants that particularly speak to our low-code and business process management capabilities. We are also included in 7 Forrester Waves, 2 of which speaking to our low-code and process management capabilities, and 5 of which really emphasizing our CRM and SFA capabilities. We are included as a strong performer in each of these categories, and look forward to growing that recognition with Forrester moving forward. So we want to kick off this conversation with a quick poll. Our question for the audience is, what challenges does professional services industries expect to face during the crisis? So while we give you a quick moment to answer this question, Eric, how about we take a quick question from the audience?
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. As part of professional services and to execute this efficiently post the COVID-19 era, what are the measures being enlisted to avoid disruption?
Great question. And actually, we have a lot of slides to talk about this in a little bit, but you know, there are lots of things that have been exposed by the current health pandemic. And really what we need to do is we need to take a look at the different processes and different things that we have in place that support remote work and you know, social distancing efforts. What we can't do is allow a breakdown in the way that we service our customers. All of that needs to be seamless. So it's really forced organizations to take a hard look at their operations, their customer experience, and how do they put measures in place to ensure that experience will remain the same and the business will continue as usual or as close to usual as possible, utilizing new tools. So we'll talk about that a little more in detail throughout the presentation.
Excellent, thank you, Eric. Let's take a look at the results from our poll now. So it looks like a close tie between drastic changes in customer journeys and disruption in business processes. And while these are all very important challenges that we're going to address today, we definitely agree that these are two that we should primarily focus on. So moving forward, we will be addressing each of these challenges, and look forward to giving you guys some more information on how to address these challenges internally.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Corey. And yeah, no surprise on those challenges either. This is at the forefront of pretty much every industry, right? Every industry is really adapting to life during a pandemic. But a lot of business users have taken the opportunity to really understand what is core to their purpose or core to their value proposition. And it's really helped them identify areas where they haven't properly reviewed their processes or properly evaluated how they service their customers. So it's really forced a lot of organizations to have a hard look at how they're managing their processes and how they're managing their customer experience. So professional service leaders are navigating a broad range of interconnected issues. So if we think about it from keeping your employees and your customers safe, how do we create and maintain those customer experiences that I had mentioned, right? Like, how do we make sure we don't see any falter in the way that we manage our interactions with our customers? They also want to talk about shoring up business processes, making sure that we can be as effective as possible while working remotely. And then also, we'll talk about how COVID has really driven digital transformation at a higher rate. These might have been things that were on the horizon for a lot of organizations, but because of the crisis, it's forced organizations to take a accelerated path to digital transformation. So we had a debate on one of our recent Creatio arenas about productivity in virtual working environments. And while no one disagreed that face-to-face interactions with customers is still the best way to provide service and build relationships, but I think everybody on the call in the debate really came to a conclusion that we all need to embrace the new reality of remote work. And if we look at some of these statistics, we see that investing in a work from anywhere, anytime, on any device model, and also putting best practices like these in place can benefit companies in the midst of a crisis. And I would even go a step further and say that even beyond the crisis, this will be the new normal going forward. So the technologies that we're adapting today are going to be what we see as the new normal going forward, or at least as part of the new normal. 95% of consumers, want companies to implement physical protection and distancing measures to help keep them healthy. And then finally, digital interactions with B2B customers is now 2 times more important than traditional channels. That's more than a 30% jump since before the onset of COVID. And we can see these statistics showing the percentage of workforce that will remain permanently remote post-COVID, who are not remote before COVID. So again, we see that not only has it driven remote work, but again, in my opinion, it's going to continue along this way, based on the efficiencies that we've gained throughout this change. We can see that 74% of respondents in the survey said that they're going to move part of their office employees to permanent remote positions. And also among the respondents, we'll definitely see clients and partners of professional service organizations become more and more remote. So it's crucial for them to shift to this remote collaboration model that we have here. So again, what will we do? We'll see them remain remote, have some sort of combination of remote and on-site, but all of this to maintain the safety and health of our employees and our customers as well. So customer experience can be the last true differentiator for multiple businesses. You can only differentiate yourself on the services you provide or on product features or even on price for so long. Your competitors are eventually going to catch up from that perspective. People don't buy products and services, they buy experiences. And that's why organizations need to live up to consumer expectations. And to do that, they need the tools to execute on their strategies. So how do we do that? What are some of the top customer experience strategies that we have? We look at omni-channel communications. And when we say omni-channel communications, it's not just about opening up channels for people to interact with your brand. It's about opening those channels and then also understanding the interactions that are happening on those channels and ensuring that there is a consistent experience regardless of your customer's channel of choice. We look at online collaboration tools as we have remote teams and not the ability to go on site anymore with customers. How do we collaborate? How do we interact with our customers? How do we ensure that we're communicating with our teams while remote? So having online collaboration tools and being able to keep everybody on the same page will be key to keeping the customer experience positive and efficient. Use of predictive analytics and artificial intelligence will be another key area, right? So how do we predict what's going to happen in that customer journey? We aren't necessarily on site or in front of customers all the time. So how do we start to predict what the needs of that customer is going to be, and how do we address that through best-in-class business processes? Well, if we have that predictive analytics, whether that's building artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms that will help predict the next best offer or the next best action for that client, or just utilizing the statistics to understand the market and how our customer journey is being put into place. And the last thing that we have to take a look at, a lot of people will focus on that customer experience, but we also have to turn that internally to ourselves as well and focus on the employee experience. Empowered employees provide better customer experience. That's no secret to anybody on this call. If an employee has access to the tools that they need, if they're not having to navigate multiple systems, they're able to better service that customer. And if that process is difficult for an employee, that can make them almost dread that interaction with the customer, and that can be conveyed in the attitude of your employee to the customer. But when we empower and we enable employees, that leads to a better experience for them, and that is also transition to the customer as well. So happy employees make happy customers. And if there's one thing that the current health crisis has exposed, it's really broken business processes. Professional service teams need to find ways to automate operational and customer-facing processes that will also help them increase efficiency and save money. So if you look at some of these statistics here, nearly 80% of professional services teams have invested in a professional services automation solution. And those that do tend to have a 4 to 10% higher billable utilization rate. And that's from a recent study from SPI Research. And then this other statistic that you see here on the right side, 50% of all work performed today can already be automated with currently available technology. So again, we're being forced in the current crisis to address that, right? This is something that's probably been on the mind of a lot of organizations, but as we move through the crisis, we have to find ways to automate more and more. So those projects or those work tasks that can be automated, may have gone unnoticed or unaddressed for a number of years, but now we're having to bubble those projects up to the forefront just to kind of keep up with business continuity. And all of this has really shown professional services organizations that they need to accelerate their plans for digital optimization across the organization. They need to put technology in place to agilely adapt to not just crisis situations, but for changing business environments in general. We all know that change is the only constant in business. So being able to adapt to that and digitize all of those functions are going to be absolutely important. We have a couple of statistics here. Even before COVID-19 hit, 92% of companies thought their business models would need to change given digitization. That's a tough word. So within a McKinsey study that came out. So again, we all recognize that digital transformation is necessary, but COVID has been that true accelerator of that process. And then there was another study by AppDynamics where 71% of the respondents point to digital transformation projects that have been implemented within weeks rather than months or years it would have taken before the pandemic. So that just shows you the urgency of how we need to go through this digital transformation to meet these business challenges that we're having. Again, we may have been thinking about these things, but because we've been driven into this situation to adapt very quickly, it's going to be that agile methodology going forward is really what professional service organizations have to look at. Because again, we're at COVID-19. What about COVID-20, COVID-21? Knock on wood, we don't see those anytime soon, but we still have to prepare for the next crisis or the next event that's going to make us adapt to that particular change. And as we can see from this graphic, again, COVID-19 may be the great catalyst for business transformation. We can start to see, change rate and, the historic human adaptation, but we can see that up curve in the coronavirus accelerant. So again, we may have been on a path, but that path has now been accelerated to change management. And it will be those organizations that are able to plan and adapt to that change that are going to survive. And Corey, I'm going to turn it back over to you to talk about our platform and BPM capabilities a bit, and then we'll jump into some additional challenges.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric. Thanks for that great discussion. So as Eric mentioned, I'll be discussing Creatio's product architecture. Creatio's low-code studio offers a built-in foundation for our all-encompassing CRM suite of sales, service, and marketing. And this is really what drives and differentiates our platform, again, giving our users the ability to create and customize applications for process management and that CRM suite. So our low-code studio or low-code tool studio enables users to build full-fledged applications across the sales, service, and marketing products. Additionally, Creatio Marketplace is an online forum where our large community of partners share over 500 add-ons, connectors, and templates to be used by Creatio users and can be further customized. And these are really the best-of-breed out-of-box functionalities offered to our customers. When we talk specifically about Creatio's low-code capabilities, it's important for us to emphasize that our platform facilitates automation for all tasks, ranging in complexity across use cases, and our customers spread across the globe and across many different industries. And that really truly speaks to the flexibility and versatility of our low-code platform. Just to quickly emphasize Creatio's vision, we believe that Creatio has created a world where everyone can automate business ideas within minutes. So users with little to no coding experience can automate these processes and simplify their daily tasks. And we accomplish this vision through our Creatio superpowers, also referred to as our core differentiators here, and that is our BPM engine to change processes faster, our low-code platform, which make everyone a developer, and our unified CRM, which align those sales, service, and marketing products. So Creatio's unified CRM helps marketing, sales, and service teams gain a complete client data overview, increase conversions, and just accomplish many more benefits on the platform. Creatio's powerful BPM engine helps professional services organizations to automate both customer-facing and operational processes, and this unifies applications and drives efficiency across the organization. And as mentioned previously, our low-code platform is the foundation of all of our products, the foundation of our all-encompassing CRM suite, and this enables us to create, to tailor, to customize processes, again, ranging in complexity across use cases for any industry. Creatio is truly flexible and an industry-agnostic solution. So Eric, I'm going to hand it back off to you now that we've discussed the platform in a bit more detail, and we can talk about how we address many of those challenges from earlier today.
Excellent, thanks, Trey. Yeah, great overview, and really appreciate the insight into the platform itself. But now let's talk about some of the ways that we can create better customer experiences, given the challenges that we talked about. What can we put in place, and what do we need to do to ensure that that customer experience remains the same regardless of how our organizations are working? And as we discussed, we talked about the new normal that we have, and although we may not be in the same room due to travel restrictions or social distancing standards, we have to communicate and collaborate as if we were. The experience for both the customer as well as your employees should be seamless, regardless of where or how someone wants to engage or how they're working. And in order to do that, we have to have the right tools in place. So first, customer data needs to be consistent and easily accessible by everyone. Whether that's a customer-facing team or a back office team, everybody needs to be reading from the same page so we understand the profile of our customers, and we need to understand that profile as a whole, not just by the individual function that we are having. So that's where engagement tools like CRM can really help ensure that everyone is kind of reading from that same hymnal. That way that experience can be seamless to the customer regardless of how they're engaging. So next, we also need, strong business process management in place. We need to have the ability to collaborate and have those business processes driving every interaction, every project, every process. We need to make sure that they are all aligned across our organization. Having remote teams really can leave room for error and misalignment if we do not have a clearly defined process flow in place. And the last thing I would say in terms of a collaborative workspace, we need to be able to communicate through multiple channels. We just talked about that in the challenges section. So whether that's phone, video meetings, messengers, or chat, or even mobile for that matter. It should be easy to connect in the way that you want to, whether that's with your internal teams or with your customers or within your partner networks. The problem is, we utilize many different tools to manage our communications. So we also need the tools in place to kind of consolidate data from those interactions in a single place like CRM. And ensure that we're capturing the outcome of these engagements and then being able to analyze them as well. So in a short period of time, COVID-19 has really overwhelmed many lives and industries. It has forced kind of a rethinking of what the customer journey is And it's really focused a lot of organizations to pay close attention to their customer journeys and also customer satisfaction metrics, not just on what the customers want have to be given to them in a certain way, but actually focus on what they need now, right? So we go beyond understanding, what our customer expectations are to really understanding what they need, right? They need a way to interact. And a good example of this might be, within, the banking industry. You can't go into a branch location at some points. You could go through a drive-through, but your money is still being managed in there. We need a way to interact with our banking institutions. So a lot of organizations are focusing on that need versus, the want. So we all know that normal patterns of life have been disrupted. Simple activities like a trip to the grocery store or, going out to eat with friends is now, it's either difficult, it's going to be risky, or, in most cases, it's even prohibited. So demand patterns have really shifted. So a couple of statistics for you surrounding this. Overall online penetration in China increased 15 to 20% after COVID. And in another hard-hit area, Italy, e-commerce sales for consumer products rose by 81% in a single week. So that just tells you about how we have to focus on the needs of our customers to still continue business as usual. So that being said, we've been driven to that state by a crisis, but it's my opinion that digitally led experiences will continue to grow once the coronavirus has even died down. And companies that have been able to act quickly and innovate in their delivery model to help their customers navigate the pandemic safely will establish a strong advantage going forward in business. So adoption has grown of digital technology, even among the most digitally resistant types of customers. So for some companies, the rapid development of digital functionalities is key to ensuring continuity of services. So for an example, professional service providers have accelerated digital value-added services like providing advice and education to their customers remotely. So whether that's a webinar like this, or maybe it's a financial services organization that wants to give lending advice or investment advice over webinars. So really utilizing digital tools to educate and advise their clients. And it's safe to say that every industry is challenged to quickly adapt to this change. And at the forefront of the challenge really is technology. From if it's technology like online self-service options, all the way to video meetings. These are all technologies that people have had to adopt, and they've been challenged to ensure that this is in place for their customers. But technology alone can't get the job done. Really, in order to truly pivot to a more digital organization, companies really have to take an agile approach to how they're going to do that. They need the methodologies, people, and systems that can easily shift gears and adapt to the new way of doing business. Before now, technology was changing at a rapid pace due to innovation. Now we're seeing it being driven by the need for new services, solutions, and ways of doing business, while in-person contact is going to be limited. So again, we're being driven by need versus innovation. We still need to innovate to come up with these solutions, but at this point, it's no longer a nice to have, it's a must have. And that's really what professional service organizations are having to focus on. So, how can companies get there, quickly? Typically a full transition to a digital selling and digital experience is a long process. So companies of any size likely don't have that kind of time available to them right now. They're watching their businesses be severely impacted by the pandemic. So they need to find ways to, one, keep up with the current demand, but two, anticipate what those challenges are going to be going forward. So it's a very tight balancing act that these organizations are having to follow. So from next gen technologies, there's a lot of different things that can be considered out there. At Creatio, as Corey went into with our product overview, we believe that technologies like low code development will be the answer. So just to give you an example, with low code, you're able to rapidly develop new business applications. You can automate workflows and business processes without needing heavy development or IT involvement. Most customers that we speak to at Creatio have large gaps between their business demand and their IT capacity to fulfill those demands. So we're seeing that a lot of project backlogs are growing, and that can be either due to lack of resources or lack of budget, or simply having outdated systems that are not easy to modify or change to adapt to the environment that we're all in now. So what low code does is it enables citizen developers. And if we look at citizen developers as professional employees that do not necessarily have any coding or development skills, but they do have an understanding of business processes. So if you have an understanding of business process, you can utilize low code capabilities to create custom applications. We can enable them to collaborate with their peers as they're developing those applications. We can also launch and deploy applications in a manner of days versus weeks or months. Because we're able to do that very quickly with visual design tools, it's really going to allow the business side of the house to keep up with their demands. And it's going to have an effect on the flip side of that as well. IT departments can now focus on the heavier lifting items, things like keeping the infrastructure up and running. So we're seeing benefits of low code on both sides. So whether that's businesses being able to accomplish what they need immediately, and also enabling IT to focus on more of those larger projects. And this can have a great benefit not only from a time to value or a time to market with those applications, but it also can help again free up some of those more expensive resources to focus on those larger projects. So we're not having to bring on additional developers or coders, which can be expensive. If you went out to like Glassdoor or something, you can see how much a traditional developer or coder makes. So that can be an expensive proposition based on the type of technology that you're looking to implement. So, with low code, we're taking a look at, what can be automated with low code, and the answer is virtually anything. We have this map in front of you that kind of goes through some of the different processes and tasks that we're able to automate. And it's not specific just to IT. We're also, it could be for customer-facing applications like marketing, sales, and service automation. But we can also start to look at things in the back office, right? So things like finance, could be human capital management. We also look at things like compliance management. We're able to start to automate all of these processes utilizing low-code technology. And low-code, again, just isn't about designing, a business process, but which we definitely do. But you can also configure user interfaces very easily. So as you're launching new business applications, one of the things that is incredibly important is user adoption. You can put in place, point solutions that may address a need. They're out of the box. You can get them up and running very quickly. But the problem with those is that they're difficult to kind of configure to your specific needs. And that's why we feel that low code is the way to go, because you could create these user interfaces based on the way that your employees work. right? You can enable them to work like they live. And when you create these great user interfaces, you're going to get a higher user adoption. So we talked about being able to automate workflows and business logic, create user interfaces. But the other thing that low code can help you do is streamline the way you integrate your third-party applications. So being able to combine all data from different sources into a single location, low code can help you do that by building quick and easy integrations utilizing API services to make calls out to these third-party applications and bring that data into a single system. So being able to create those integrations very easily utilizing low-code technology will help reduce the time to get those products integrated. And we also talked about AI and machine learning. That's another thing that can be a daunting task for a lot of organizations. If you think about AI and machine learning, you can think about the process that you have to set up. What is it going to look for? What does success look like? What data are we looking to combine? It could be, required that you have a data scientist. Well, all of those things are true, and AI and machine learning are, difficult to manage, but being able to build those algorithms easily and utilize a visual designer to say, okay, here's what we're looking for, here's the data that we're looking to combine, here's what success looks like, and just building a process map for the algorithm is a lot easier than trying to develop that utilizing data scientists and everybody else. It's a matter of building that and making it effective. So you could do that also very easily with low code. So again, just to reiterate, what can you automate with low code? It's virtually everything. And we have a lot of customers that are utilizing our tools to automate multiple processes. And what we'll do is we'll talk about a few of those customers in some case studies. We have some real use cases where our customers have utilized low code to streamline their operations, not just for the current pandemic crisis, but just in general because they have had broken processes that were costing them business, and whether that's revenue or inefficiencies within their operations. So the first customer we'd like to talk about is Van Isle Marina. So Van Isle Marina is a family-owned business that has been handed down from generation to generation since 1955. Currently, it is among the largest full-service marinas in British Columbia, and they provide a wide variety of services, including marine dealership, yacht maintenance, storage, boat moorage, fuel services, inspection services, etc. They're a full-service organization for the British Columbia area. And the challenge that they were facing was that all of their processes, from sales to service functions like inspection services, were all being managed in Excel spreadsheets. They really did not have full visibility to manage their customer interactions. And again, this was even before COVID. So since their customers, no longer could come into their facilities, their systems are now enabled to coordinate these interactions across their entire team. So they were able to quickly build, utilizing low-code technology, custom-made solutions that enabled them to manage that end-to-end process, whether that was marketing to sales, to the ongoing support and maintenance of their customers. They were able to build these applications very easily utilizing low-code technology. So now things are not being managed in Excel. Everything is clear. All departments across their organization have full view into all of those different transactions. So it's a great use case. Again, think about your organization or other organizations that you come in contact with. How many people are managing their customer engagements on a spreadsheet in very siloed manners that are not enabling them to provide better customer experience. The second customer that we'd like to talk about is AUTOMATRIX. So AUTOMATRIX is a software organization that helps manage used car dealer networks across the globe. So the company has they have 16 different solution modules ranging from how they manage customer inquiries all the way down to HR processes to meet their customer needs internally as well. So we were able to help them build an application that would enable them to fully integrate with their current support technologies, like their telephony systems. So we had full CTI integration, so that when a customer, which is a dealer, would call in, they were able to route that call very easily utilizing low-code tools, and then also process that on that dealer very easily because we were driving the agents to the next best action for this particular dealer and solving their case very easily. So they were able to build this very quickly, and again, they manage 16 different solution modules. So as you can imagine, there could be 16 different processes that they need to follow when someone calls in for service. So being able to take those 16 processes, put them into a single solution, and guide the agent to answering that particular inquiry was very important to AUTOMATRIX. And they have been able to accommodate those customer requests very easily, which has led to higher dealer satisfaction. And the next customer that we'd like to talk about is ALPAC Group. So they manufacture aluminum packaging. They have over 25 years of experience and operate in over 28 countries. So very similarly, they have a lot of different processes that they need to follow. If you think about the way that opportunities flow within a manufacturing environment, there are a lot of different groups that have to touch that particular process. So in having a diverse team, again, being available in 28 countries, how do you manage that from a centralized office or centralized shared services? So the challenge that they had is that, again, they had several subsidiaries, diverse teams, but they did have these complex processes that needed to take place across these subsidiaries and diverse teams. So they couldn't bring the level of visibility into their centralized support structure in order to make better data-driven decisions. So they were, managing that in a siloed environment, and they were looking for a way to combine data into a single location, and that was also involved incorporating data from their ERP systems, right? And then how do we take that data and drive that across our organization? So that was the challenge that ALPAC Group was having. So what we were able to deliver was, a fully integrated solution that would take all of the data from the siloed sources and combine them into a single unified digital workspace for them across their entire company, their different branches, the subsidiaries, and have everybody utilizing the same tools. This really helped them automate all of those complex processes that they had. They were able to take an end-to-end product design approach because they had preset business rules as well as predefined workflows and processes that would enable them to move through that whole process very smoothly. And then also enable them to analyze all of that data in real time. So that's also another important thing when you have siloed data, right? How are you maintaining all of that data and understanding where there might be bottlenecks in your process? How do we make better decisions in real time? Because if we think about manufacturing, one little breakdown in that process could actually cost hundreds of millions of dollars if you don't address that very quickly. So they were able to build these workflows and processes to enable quality across their entire organization. And the outcome of that was, because we were able to connect all of those processes and then standardize across their entire organization, it really helped them increase their operational efficiency, created that business process transparency that we just talked about. Again, how do we look at all of these different data silos and be able to make better driven data decisions? And then also enabled their workforce to operate more efficiently and therefore increase their productivity as well. So having all of this, in that single platform really enabled them to accomplish their goals very, very quickly. And, again, they have over 100 active business processes that were created and also manage them within the Creatio platform. We talked about their operational efficiency increasing, their productivity grew by 20%, and also because they have a standardized practice or process, they have near zero error occurrence of changes or errors. So in the future, Alpac is actually looking at the Creatio platform to automate 90% of their business operations. So what grew from these 100 active business processes will now grow to a single tool across their organization because they've seen the flexibility of the low-code platform to meet those business challenges across their entire organization. So these were just a couple of examples of customers that have leveraged low-code to adapt to change quickly. It's enabled them to work through the current crisis by keeping those processes and systems coordinated, regardless of how they engage with their customers or where their workforce might be. So I'm going to pause here, and Corey, why don't we take some questions from the audience?
That sounds great, Eric.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Thank you so much for leading this discussion. This was really, really great for our audience. So let's take some questions. Our first question is it possible to integrate Creatio with existing client databases? I know you touched on this a bit when talking about the customer cases, how that's possible, but let's elaborate on this for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is possible. We support many database management systems. We support everything from SQL to Oracle database. We also fully support open source technologies like PostgreSQL. So as you have your custom database, we can fully integrate directly with those sources.
Excellent, great. So let's enter. Okay, so our next question is, what key performance metrics can be shown in Creatio?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna go back to the process map that I showed. Virtually any KPI can be evaluated within Creatio. So we do have full analytics built into our platform. So any data element that we're putting into Creatio can be evaluated from an analytics standpoint. We have full dashboards and reports that can be exported. We have literally dozens of pre-built reports, dashboards, and analytic templates that can be either reutilized or modified based on your specific business needs. But we also give the ability to create custom reports, dashboards, and analytics based from your business needs from scratch. So we can just build those directly from scratch, and literally we can build any KPI within the Creatio platform as long as we have the data in the platform to back that up.
Excellent, thanks, Eric. So our next question is, What business processes in accounting companies can be automated using low code?
Yeah, interesting question. So when I think of accounting processes, I think of accounting processes more of a cycle. So I think the way that when we talk about accounting practices, we're talking more about your customer database. So what have you done for that customer? What have you provided for that customer? Keeping a maintenance schedule in place, but in terms of the processes themselves, I think that the accounting process stands on its own rather than what can be automated within Creatio. So if we think about it from that perspective, it's more based on the customer data and the customer interaction. The accounting process itself will be the accounting process. We can build that into Creatio, but again, I don't think that that's going to be automated because a lot of that has to be completed by an accountant.
Excellent, thanks, Eric. So our next question from the audience is, how can I integrate Creatio with software and working tools that the company is already working with? We did touch on this a little bit, but if we can just dive into a bit more detail here.
Sure. So we have fully open sourced APIs available in the Creatio platform. So we can make web service calls virtually into any third-party application that has that capability. We support RESTful as well as SOAP APIs. So as long as the third-party application has the ability to connect via those methods, we can fully integrate into those applications with the Creatio platform. And when we talk about those integrations, they can be near real-time, either real-time, near real-time, or batch mode integration. So depending upon how you want that data to transfer, we can configure that directly with our integration tools. And again, could be bidirectional or single directional depending upon your specific business need.
Great, thanks, Eric. Our next question is, what features does Creatio have to keep projects on schedule and under budget?
Great question. So we do have full project management capabilities built directly into the Creatio platform. So you can start to track projects from the planning stage through building the team. You can manage your costs directly within the Creatio platform. So we do have that capability. But just to tie that back into the last question as well, is we do have the full capability to pull in project management from other applications. So we recognize that there's specific project management software out there like Jira that a lot of companies have been utilizing for a while. So if that is a tool that you're utilizing, we would simply connect into, and in fact, Jira is a good example of that. We have a pre-built connector on our marketplace that will enable you to take that data out of the project management software and bring that into your customer record and have that fully integrated bidirectional connection between the two applications.
Excellent, thanks, Eric. Our next question is, how can I optimize resource management using Creatio?
Same type of scenario as project management. We do have the ability to track our resources within the Creatio platform. We can track whether those are physical resources or human capital as well. We can start to track all of that within the Creatio platform. But again, if you're using a third-party application, more than likely, we have a connector or a method to integrate with that as well. On our marketplace, just as an example, we have over 600 pre-built connectors, applications, and templates that will allow you to, again, extend the core functionality of Creatio into other aspects of your business.
Excellent, thanks, Eric. And our last question that we have here is how is it better than our legacy software that we already have?
That's a loaded question, Corey, but I'll do my best to answer that. So depending upon your legacy application, not knowing what that is, the benefits of the Creatio platform are, as you highlighted when you were going over our platform capabilities. We believe that low code citizen development is going to be the way future applications are developed. And there's all kinds of studies that will back that up from McKinsey and Forrester and Gartner. So because our platform is built on low-code technology, it's going to enable people to create custom business applications faster than traditional development methods. In fact, there's a statistic out there that low-code development can be 10 times faster than traditional development methods. So as we look at COVID and as we look at other change factors that are facing organizations, the ability to develop applications and get them up and running quicker is of ultimate importance. So that's really where we're truly differentiated from legacy systems, right? The legacy systems can be built on proprietary languages, require heavy coding, can be cumbersome to manage, can be expensive to manage. We feel that from our perspective, the low-code methodology that we utilize is better than these legacy methods because one, it's faster, two, it's cheaper, and three, you can realize a higher total cost of ownership or a lower total cost of ownership, I should say, over traditional methods. So that's really how we differentiate from legacy systems. And again, it's not just me saying it. There's 100 studies out there that say that low code is going to be the future of business application development. So that's the best way I can answer that without going feature to feature with a legacy application.
That's very helpful, Eric, and thank you so much for answering all of our questions. I believe we're running a bit close on time, so for those questions that we did not get to today, we will respond offline, and we will also be providing and following up with a recording of our webinar today for all registered attendees. I want to send a big thank you to everyone who's joined our webinar today, and a big thank you to Eric Hale for leading the discussion and customer cases and talking to our audience a bit more about Creatio. So thank you, Eric, and thank you to our audience.
Excellent. Thanks, Corey. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day.